Yeah, our next speaker is Adetokunbo. I might be butchering your name. I'm very sorry. Okay. And he's a senior platform engineer with over a decade of experience. And I'll give you the floor.
Hi, everyone. Once again, good evening. My name is Adetokunbo. So today we'll just be discussing on how to secure a web app on AKS with Kyverno and OPA Gateway. Okay. So a little bit about myself. I'm a platform engineer. I have over a decade and have experience in platform engineering, software engineering, SRA database, and I'm a member of the AWS Community Builder Program. I'm very passionate about technology. Then from time to time, I try to work on different solutions. Okay. So is everybody familiar with Kubernetes? Okay, 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 okay. So we'll just be going through the introduction, security risks in Kubernetes deployment, going through the policy engines, then I'll be walking through us through the code. So I love to watch basketball. From time to time, I watch basketball. I support different teams, Team Canada, Nigeria. Then I support Adetokunbo. He plays for Greece. I love to watch basketball because of the strategies and how passionate the players are, how they spend time to make themselves better from time to time. Okay, so why Kubernetes? So I started using Kubernetes in 2015. And I was managing over 1,000 applications, on-premise applications. And every night, my phone rings because of pager duty. Probably the applications are not well written, or we need to create more instances of the application. So myself and my team, from time to time, we try to look for a solution that could help us have more time to play, have more time for family, have more time to watch basketball. And we're going through different solutions, and we found out about Kubernetes. So one of the issues which we had was that anytime we're doing deployment, we try to load balance the applications using F5. Is anybody familiar with load balancing? Okay. All right. So, sorry, is everybody familiar with hosting applications? I want this session to be a little bit interactive. Okay. Sorry? Sorry? Oh, how many? So, okay. Sorry, how many applications are? Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, with show of hands, how many people are familiar with how to host an application? Oh, okay. Ah, cool. So, can everybody share what platform they use to host applications? Okay. 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 With what? ECS. Sorry. Okay, serverless stack. Okay. Okay. So, okay, does anyone want to tell us what they use to host applications apart from GitHub and serverless on EKS? Okay, so now what Kubernetes gives us is okay. Just imagine you are working for a fintech company, right? Maybe let's say you're working for Google, right? And Google have a bunch of applications, and for some reason during the peak period, maybe around December, a lot of people are browsing Google, right? So what happens? You need to have more instances of the application, right? So what Kubernetes does for you is that it gives you a platform whereby you could easily spin up different instances of the application without having to think about the overhead costs. It makes life easier. So, from my experience, from time to time, during the off-peak period, maybe in the middle of the night, when probably there is increase in traffic, Kubernetes gives you a platform whereby you could easily spin up a new application and spin down application. So what happens is during off-peak period, when a lot of people are trying to browse through your website, you have more instances of your applications, and during your peak period, your application scales down. Okay, so different cloud providers have different solutions for hosting Kubernetes. In Azure, it's called AKS. In AWS, it's called EKS. Okay, so let me just go through. Okay, I want to show us a simple web application. So this is a simple Docker file. which is just used to build a Node.js app. And when you want to host the application, you would just a simple to do app, right? So you would just this application will be hosted in AKS. But one of the challenges of this is okay, okay. So now, can anybody tell me maybe part of the issues with this deployment manifest file? Like, does anybody notice if anything is wrong with this file? Okay, yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's cool. Okay. Now, one of the issues with this deployment manifest is we are using latest tag, right? So what this means is that if your container or your application gets compromised, it will be difficult to detect it, and hackers can easily inject different vulnerabilities in your tag if you are using latest. So what these two policies will be discussing, what they do is that the policy engine checks for certain criteria in your manifest if you are using things like latest, or if you are running your application as a root user, it will block you and it won't allow you to move ahead. So okay, we'll just go through examples of the policy engines. So this is a policy engine. What it does is that it checks if your container has tag called latest, and it blocks you from trying to deploy an application. So if an application has tag latest, it will just block you. You won't be able to deploy the application. Then also, this policy engine, it also disallow you from running your application container as a root user. So for people that are very concerned about security, they try to take these things very seriously so that hackers cannot compromise your infrastructures. So ideally, when you are running your code, you should run it as a non-root user that doesn't have much privileges. So tools like Kyverno will help you detect this and block it. Then also we have another tool called Rigo. So this is quite interesting because it allows you to use your existing programming knowledge to be able to block developers maybe trying to use latest or trying to run application as a non-root user. So what it does is that it it works like this policy engine, Kyverno, but the only difference is that this policy engine you can use it in a non-Kubernetes environment, and you use your knowledge of programming languages. So what it does is it just checks the pod, it checks the container, and it looks for this parameter. So if the user has if it's a privileged user, it will just block you. The same thing has the container image. If it's the latest, it will block you from moving forward. Then also, now, when developers are trying to run the application, what happens is everybody use different container images, right? You can pick up a container from maybe from Docker, you can pick it from anywhere, but as a system administrator, you need to have certain rules or policies which you have to block containers that you don't want, maybe like deprecated containers. Recently, I discovered that Bitnami Postgres, they've deprecated some of their Postgres container, and the new containers that they are supporting now, they want people to be paying for it. So things like that, you could define policies that will block them. So if you don't want developers to use images with this box, you could block it. If you don't want developers to use images with Nginx deprecated, you could also block it as well. So does anybody have any questions? Okay. Okay. Now, what can we do with the policy engines? We could say, okay, if developers are running containers with roots, block it. If developers are not setting resource limits, maybe if developers are not setting the CPU and RAM resources that they want to use for the application, block it. if developers are running unverified Docker images, or if developers are running images or configurations without network policies. Okay, so we just did an overview of what Kyverno engine looks like. What it does is you could set your configurations and it's YAML, so it makes it very easy to understand. So these are the things it does. It denies images without digests. You can define any of the policies you want with it. Then also OPA gateway as well. So this one is the one that I described here that uses a Rego. Oh, sorry, yeah. So it uses Rego. So just a simple a simple language that you could use to set different parameters. Okay, yeah. So you could do create any policies with this as well. Okay. Then we'll just go through the code once more. So does anyone have any questions? Or do we have any, show of hands, do we have any security expert here? Oh, okay. So do you want to share your experience with us on how you create different policies?
So the thing is that there is no silver bullet you have to implement security on multiple layers. For example, network policies is one. Kyverno, okay, it's another aspect, something that you can cover. From what I've seen, not many means actually Kyverno, split use Kyverno to prevent specific problems from reaching production. But there is much more from container security. For example, the container that you shown, everything was writable as you inserted correctly the security context allow for root to be the user that last application. If the application gets if you're connecting from that application, you are a user that goes along and can do that document internationally. Or at least you can read the memory, the standard code, and so on. There are, of course, many things. But yeah, Kyverno is for sure something that's worth implementing very.
All right, thank you for the contribution. Okay, so this is a good example of a deployment manifest. So I'm not using root user here. Then I have this limit and resource limits and request defined. Then I also have the tag here, right? So whereas the wrong deployment manifest here, I'm using latest. I don't have the security context defined. Then I also don't have the resources limit and request defined. But over here, I have them defined. This brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.